right now is the worst time of the day. If you look at the clock here, it's 10:45 p.m. Now what that means is that after hours is now running the show. Anytime after about 4 o'clock Salt Lake City time, the DMs, the load planners go home and the operation is run by after hours. Now what after hours is they're a skeleton crew of a very few people that are managing over 7,000 trucks and making sure that they're on time during the nighttime hours. So the way that it works is they have algorithms and computers that they use to figure out if you're going to be late. And what typically was happening to me all the time is I'd be contacted by after hours about this time of night, and after hours would say to me, hey man, you're going to be late, and they would swap my load off, and I would get a crummy load, I'd lose my rhythm, and I wouldn't make money for the week. So, the swapping was a real problem, and being contacted by after hours was a real problem. And in my case, it was exacerbated because I would usually be running kind of tight anyway because I don't like to burn up my 14-hour clock. And so I think their algorithm is set for somewhere around, if you're not going to be an hour and a half early, they consider you to be late. And so many times they'll swap you when you don't need a swap. So I was getting discouraged about the whole thing and losing a lot of money, and I talked to my DM about it. And he told me that he couldn't tell me specifically what to do, but he did want to give me a piece of information. And that piece of information is, when you do a Mac 22 on the Qualcomm, you own that load. That is your load and you're responsible for it. So knowing that, I was driving down the road one night at about this time, and I got a Qualcomm message that they wanted to swap me out because I'm going to be late. So I called them on the phone. Sent him a Qualcomm message, said, hey, I'm not going to be late, I'm going to be on time, I've trip planned it, it'll be a little tight, but I'll be there on time. And to which they took the load off my truck and sent me a Qualcomm message with who to swap at the Flying J. So I decided just to keep driving. So I kept driving. About an hour later, I get a call from a driver at the Flying J saying, hey man, where are you? We're supposed to swap this load. And I told the driver that I had told after hours that I was not swapping because I could deliver the load on time. And about 60 seconds later, I got a call from after hours saying, hey, we took that load off your truck. You got to swap it out at the Flying J. So I said, well, let me check. So I rolled down my window, I looked out back, and the trailer was still there. So I told after hours, hey, the trailer's still there. It hasn't been taken off my truck. And so with that, I delivered the load on time. Now, after hours doesn't bother me a whole lot since then, but if I had been late, obviously it would have been a huge problem. So what has to happen is you have to get a reputation with after hours of always being on time and always giving them accurate information. Now occasionally when there's a new person in after hours, they'll call me up and try and swap my load, and I'll just tell them, I say, hey, I've been here 3 years. I think the last 40 or 50 loads I've run this year have all been on time, and I'm not swapping. Now, if you need a swap, you need to take it. But if you don't need a swap, if you're sure you can be on time, it's your load. Don't let after hours take it from you, because you're just going to get a garbage load that you're going to lose money on. So trip plan carefully, be confident in what you're doing, and don't let after hours take stuff off your truck that doesn't need to come off your truck.